I remember not quite long ago, it used to be, a lot of fun reselling. Today is Saturday, it's there about 16 o'clock in the afternoon, all right? Normally, just a few months ago, at this time, which is on the weekend, talking about Friday evening, Saturday, we already have had like, 6, 7, 8, up to 10 computers already sold. Talking about laptops, monitors, the business was booming. It was pretty much what you can refer to as like a free for all. You list items. Before you know what's going on, the item gets impression. If you don't know what impression is, it's the items get shown to people, potential buyers, everywhere. Sometimes on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google, before you know, you just see that, people are viewing the offer, especially when you have done your due diligence to list something that you can consider a hot cake. Talking about Lenovo laptops, talking about Lenovo ThinkCentre PCs, Dell Optiplex PCs. Not all of them, there are certain model numbers that you can consider hot cakes, like hot selling items. Saturday evening we would have already, done some. We would have already gotten some orders, and then on Sunday, sometimes we still receive like 3 or 4. So that on Monday morning, there's a lot of things to do, a lot of work. Sometimes I have to go to the warehouse on Sunday evening just to make preparations for Monday, because don't mind you, on Monday is still a normal day. People are still going to order things. People are still going to go onto eBay and buy stuff. This was how the business was. I'm just here driving out to the warehouse, reminiscing those days where you set up offers, they get sold as soon as possible. But this is where we have found ourselves now in reselling. Things are a little bit slow at the moment. Am I now going to say that reselling as a business model is dead? Absolutely not. We have seen situations like this so many times for me to say reselling is dead. Yes, there are phases where things don't just work. Nobody knows where the problem is, but I want to suspect, that something is fundamentally wrong somewhere. Perhaps people do not have money anymore, which I do not want to believe. Or, these offers are not being shown, on Google. Perhaps the marketing or the ad spend is kind of reduced because of that. There are just less people taking a look at these offers. Or, I don't know, the situation in the world may also be responsible for this kind of stuff, but we're not going to all that now. I'm just here trying to compare and contrast how things have changed. Yes, things have changed drastically. As of today, which is Saturday, I'm just looking at 2 orders. One PC sold for about 200. I'm not so sure. I'll just put up the screenshot while I'm, recording the video. And the laptop also sold for about 200 and something euros. I'm not going to cry about these transactions. These are beautiful transactions. At least these things. So when I take a look at my offers, they are getting, impressions, but the view counts on the listings are kind of very low. Guys, I'm sweating here. I don't want to put on the AC because then the sound will be too heavy for the microphone. All right, but I'm going to manage it. I still have about 10 minutes to drive. So, all right. So these offers are there, waiting patiently for things to begin to take shape. It's also possible that the time of the year is just a new month, May. Gradually, companies are going to begin to disburse whatever budgets they have for IT hardwares. They're going to be using it. They're going to be using it because it is what it is. Companies are suddenly going to wake up one day and realize that a particular monitor needs to be changed, or they have employed a new person. They need to get an extra laptop. This is the hope that we have. If you have found yourself in this situation, this is the very big question. Most times the gurus, they lead us to this point, which is just start a business, buy stuff, sell stuff. They lead us to this point. They give us this motivation that we need to take the first step. All right, then having taken the first step, we have set up things. The eBay shop is open. Items, inventories have been bought, and now they have been listed. No sales, crickets all the way. Now you suddenly realize that there are so many things that the guru never told you. Never told you that there's going to be a time where items are just going to sit and you are going to still pay your rent. You're still going to do the things that you need to do to survive. This is exactly where I come in to warn you before you get to this phase, to tell you that, look, if you are running a business, do not play too close to the margin. Have some money on the side. Have some reserve on the side. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have 10,000 euros saved in some account. Your reserve or your making allowance for the rainy day could just be that you have another source of income. Could be a secondary job. It could be another job. It could be, a YouTube channel. It could be something that is entirely divorced from your reselling business. If reselling is your primary business, all right. If you offer service like a lawn mowing service, that's your primary, business. Have something on the side that is entirely divorced from that thing that you do. Perhaps a mini job, a part-time job, depending on what obtains wherever you live. You are going to need it in days like this. There are going to be times where items don't sell. If you are a YouTuber, you make YouTube videos, and that's your primary business, have something on the side, because just like a reseller has times where items don't sell, there's going to be a time on YouTube where videos don't get views. I'm telling you, because I have these channels and I run them and I see what's going on. There's going to be a time where videos don't get views. There might be a time where your revenue is halved for no reason whatsoever, no explanation. A year ago, I used to make, on one of my channels, I used to make consistently, 160 euros every month. It was like so consistent for 15 months. And I felt like that source of income has already been put on rinse and repeat. And from nowhere, from the last 8 or 9 months, that channel has been making 80 euros, something 84, 85, 87, 86, 83. It has been like that. And I'm asking myself, this was a channel that was making about 100 and something euros, 160 euros or so, and then now from nowhere it became half. What changed? I have absolutely no idea. I've tried everything, tried to make more videos, even putting fresh videos on that channel, but that thing just seems to be stopped at 80 something euros per month. This is exactly what can happen. The rules maker, which is the platform itself, they can suddenly wake up today and just change the rules. You that used to make 1,000 euros or 2,000 euros every month suddenly realize that now it's very difficult for you to pull in 400 or 500 euros. These are the things that can happen when you deal with platforms. All right, you have to have something on the side. Don't be deceived. People will come here and tell you manner of stuff. This is not it. You set it up, you want to leave it, it's going to continue to make money forever. That's not true, my friends. That's not true. And this is the reason why I tend to make this kind of videos, especially when I'm driving to the warehouse, just to remind you that do not play the foolish game. Have a secondary or another source of income. If you have a primary business, do not rely entirely on that business. So it's the same thing if you have a 9-to-5 job. Do not rely absolutely on that 9-to-5 job, because your employer will suddenly wake up tomorrow and say, sorry, this job position is going to be scrapped and your job is going to be taken from you. What you have to do, have a business on the side, a business that you can begin to nourish. You can begin to feed, put in 1 hour here, 2 hours there, hoping that one day the universe will come and just do what the universe can do, give you that one opportunity that you will take advantage of, and you see things just happening for you. I hope this video helps someone out there. If it does, please go to the comment section. Let me know about it. Click on the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Till I see you again in the next one. Peace out.